look who decided to show up right on time. You're on mute, rookie. Come on. It's first time
Dude,
on Zoom.
I'm always on time. I'm never late.
Dad raised us that if you're not on like 5 minutes before, that means you're late.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm never late. That's why I'm on time.
How crazy is this, Denise? Like I don't sleep. My brain just like thinks all night.
I know.
And I just this week I was thinking, I don't think I've ever had a discovery call or a client from Maine. I was trying to think of all the states that we're in. And then lo and behold, right now, I asked everyone to drop, where they're tuning in from. And I saw that Rob had said he was getting 12 to 18 inches of snow. And I was like, good God, where is he from? And he said, Maine. Isn't that crazy? I was just
Wow.
thinking this. You're not impressed.
No, I'm just thinking about how you told me one time that you were thinking about at night when you couldn't turn your brain off if ghosts have teeth. So I'm just starting to
Really? You're going to share that live?
I'm just
Wow.
questioning your mental capacity right now.
But
We've
it's a good
got
question. Do ghosts have teeth, guys?
no, it's not. It's not even like important or relevant. It's as important as the Pythagorean theorem.
I've also wondered, like, why aren't there B batteries? Like there's A, double A, triple A, C, D, but there's no B.
That is weird. That's
So I had asked people while some of the early birds that were on, I had said to drop where you're tuning in from, and then also kind of how was your Q1? And
yeah.
what numbers do they track, if they track, in
That's what
order
we're
to
gonna get.
launch Q2? So
I'm kind of prepared to do some tough love today. I hope you guys are here for it. You let me know when we're ready to jump off, but it's going to be a little tough nerd love today.
oh boy, can't wait. I think people are ready. Q2, I love a new week, new month, new quarter. It's like a fresh start. So I think
Agreed.
we need the tough love right now. I think we're ready to go. Let's honor the time. And for those who showed up, I do have a hard stop though. I cannot go past any later than 12:45 Central Time. So let's just keep that in mind. And then let's
Okay.
go.
All right. So thank you guys for tuning in, Nerd and Bird. We do this literally because it fulfills our hearts and our soul. If we can make an impact in the world outside of what we do day in and day out, that is just how we're wired. So thank you for letting us pour into you guys. The only thing I ask is if you get anything out of this, or if you get a win, or if you've implemented something like the borrower consult we talked about last time, let us know, because that's like what fuels our heart and our souls. We love hearing the success story. So drop it in our DMs or on our Facebook group. But we're going to talk about Q1. So one of the things that I love measuring that I didn't love measuring until like as recently, within the last couple of years, is really our metrics as loan originators. Like the things that you should be measuring, so that if you imagine like a hose in your yard and it's all like tangled together and you've got kinks in the hose, like the water just doesn't come out as well when there's kinks. And the only way to identify where the kinks are in your hose is to be looking at the metrics. Here's the problem that most loan officers tell me is they don't have a good way to gather the data for such numbers. That's how it used to be for me when I was at my prior company. I couldn't produce it. Like my CRM wasn't great at reporting, and then the company didn't give us a good way to report, like how many leads, credit pulls, locks, things like that. So if you're stuck trying to do it manually, I definitely feel your pain, because it becomes such an overwhelming task that quite frankly, you just don't do it. But I'll tell you, you gotta fix that somehow. Maybe go to your company and ask if they can create reports for you. If you use Encompass, they ought to be able to do that. Maybe your regional manager or divisional president or whomever. And if you're not using a CRM, or if you are, maybe set aside some time to learn how you could get those metrics, because the key things that you have to be looking at least by every quarter, and Deborah, correct me if I'm wrong, but bare minimum is the credit pulls to your locks, and then credit pulls to your fundings. Obviously, if you can track like the number of conversations you're having to credit pools, that's handy. There's just not an easy way to measure that. And it's usually not significant enough that it needs to be measured. Doesn't mean always, but most of the time it's what I found. And so if you dissect, okay, how many families do I want to help in a year to reach my income goal? So what's your income goal? What's your average loan amount? How many families do you have to help a year to get there? You break that down by 12 because there's 12 months in a year. So I need to close 7 deals a month to meet my minimum income goal. How many credit pulls do you need in order to get, if you know your conversion rate, that many fundings a month? So if you need 7 fundings a month and that takes 40 credit pulls, this is just an example. Now you know you need 40 credit pulls in a month, so break that down by week and measure every week with your planner, or, you know, Deborah and I use the Win by Noon planner. How many credit pulls did you get every single week? And did you win or lose that week? And if you just say micro focused on that, if you're not getting enough credit pulls in a week, then what that uncovers is you're not having enough conversations with clients and realtors throughout the week. You're not having enough appointments. So are you measuring how many, I call them quality conversations, because sometimes that can be in person, sometimes it can be over the phone, sometimes it can be on social media. It's a great way to connect. Just because it's not in person doesn't mean it's not a quality conversation. But how many quality conversations are you having to then get enough credit pools to then get to your funding goal? And if you look at your calendar, this is where I meant by tough love is I've spoken to a lot of loan officers over the last couple weeks. Deborah and I have been at a couple conferences, and here's what I've learned. I'm not saying this is you, but I'm just saying the majority of the conversations I've had, I hear loan officers say they're frustrated. They kind of feel like they're in a slump. They're doing all these things and it's not getting the results that they want. And so I say, okay, let's open up your calendar. Show me how many appointments, realtor appointments you've had. Show me the hour time block you have every day for prospecting. And they don't have it. You're not doing the one thing that we all know we have to do in order to reach our goal. So I'll put it to you this way. It's like, if we are trying to lose weight, we have a choice where we could maybe eat a salad for lunch, or we could eat a big, fat, juicy cheeseburger. And we know, we have the knowledge that if you made the choice to eat a salad every day for lunch, you probably would lose that weight that you wanted faster than opting for that cheeseburger. But the decision is still ours to own. So why are we opting for the cheeseburger? What avoidance are we having by opting for that cheeseburger? What things are we being distracted with that are maybe more fun to do than the power hour of prospecting, like designing stuff or creating care packages or scrolling on social media without intention? Those are just distractions. Those are shiny balls. Let me learn this new thing. And you don't need to learn anything else until you actually get committed to the hour prospecting a day that you need to be doing, which is like choosing that salad. Everything else you're doing is a distraction. And so you have to ask yourself, why? What is preventing me from doing the one thing that I know I need to do if you're not reaching your income goal or your funding goal? And that is getting really real with yourself. And maybe the motivation's just not there. Maybe you want to make $100,000 in a year and you know you have to close this many loans, but maybe you have a spouse that makes some extra money and so you don't like need it to pay the bills. But I would argue that there's behavior you're not doing and you're chasing all these shiny balls or these programs or these whatever, and it's you're likely just not doing the one thing you need to do. So what does a power hour look like? You can set it up with theme days. I think Deborah has some more insight on this, but like some loan officers, they pick every Monday, they call for an hour, they make phone calls. It doesn't have to be phone calls though. It can be social media DMs. Like Deborah teaches, if any of you guys are in the plug and play space, it's so much more than just she provides social media posts and captions. Every Friday, you get a coaching plan. I call it more of a performance coach, where she gives you the talking points that
Ooh,
you
I
can
like
use.
that name, performance coach. I like it. Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
It's true. I take your battle plan and I share it with the loan officers in our branch. And those are the topics that we go to for real estate agents and to clients. And because on Mondays, you should have a power hour of either DMing or contacting agents or looking at Redfin, seeing what realtors have had price reductions, offering a 2-1 buy down strategy for them. Like there's really smart things that you can do, but are you prospecting? Tuesdays, it might be your status update calls to clients. Wednesdays might be the status update calls to your real estate agents. But do you have a dedicated power hour every day? And if not, imagine if you had a time block every day. Like try it for the next 30 days. Time block an hour. Make yourself do it. It's like eating the damn salad. Nobody wants the salad. We want the burger. But our income goals and providing for our family and creating that legacy means more than the burger. So just imagine if you committed to an hour every single day. And if you do that, if you truly do that and you're still not seeing the results, I am willing to listen, because this is where, if any of you guys were tuning into the Modern Mortgage Summit, sometimes this could be it. It's not usually, but it could be it. If you're a golfer and you go up to the tee and you hit the golf ball and your golf ball keeps shanking, sometimes the words that we're using and the way that we're using them in the sequence that we're using them doesn't land correct or right or effective with the human brain in front of us. It just doesn't. And you might have a blind spot to that. You might have a blind spot in your swing and you don't know it because no one's watching you hit the ball. So prescribing go hit 100 more balls or make 100 more calls and you not knowing that there's a problem in your swing is not super effective. And sometimes you need someone to listen to that, right? That maybe that's with your borrower consult or your partner consult. But most of the time, a loan officer hasn't committed to an hour power hour for at least 30 days to be able to even identify that there's a problem in the swing because you're not eating the salad every single day. What would you add to that, Deborah?
I think that's great. We had, I was responding to Kara's question where she had asked, when you were in the building phase of your career, how were you prospecting new realtors and what did that time blocking look like, for you? And I just jumped in saying I could help since I was a part of the Nerd Squad on those early days. And I will say, guys, the power of consistently hosting one educational event for your agents. We did them live then because, not a lot of people were doing Zoom. And I do think there is tremendous value in making people come live so you can get in front of them. But the other aspect to this is it gave you a reason to reach out to agents and call or DM or email to invite them to your class. So we would always map out, like, that's only 12 a year. So what are the main challenges that agents are having and how could we then host? And for my clients today, I tell them to make this the first Wednesday of every month and make it the same time, the same day. So it's less brain power to even remember of when the mastermind is. And guys, there were times where there would be one agent that showed up. Do you remember that, Denise? And I would angle the photo that I would then post to make it look like we had a full room, even though there was only one person. And too many focus on the results of how many actually came. And then they deem it as, oh, was that even successful? When it's more of the opportunities generated to get them there. Now, in addition to that, they then went into the CRM. Every Friday, we would send a value add email that was not just canned marketing from a CRM. It was what is relevant and educational that they would find value to them right now. And it was crafted and sent as a one-to-many on Fridays. And then it was mandatory that you had at least one qualified agent meeting, and qualified meaning they've at least done 4 deals in the last 6 months, 1 a day. So, and ideally it was like 4 for the week. So it could be Tuesday through Friday. And if for any reason you didn't, and if you weren't meeting your sales goals, like you weren't funding the amount that you wanted or desired from, setting up that reverse engineering that Denise mentioned, we would do that at the start of the year, then we had to do open house crashing on the weekends. And Denise would make sure that we would go to open houses and who did we meet with? And then what was our follow-up plan of either the people that signed in on the sign-in sheets, if we helped host open houses, or how many new agents did we meet with from the weekend? So it wasn't just going and doing open house crashing. It was, the intention was to then set meetings, as long as they were qualified agents we would want to work with, and set those business meetings. And that's where, Denise, you uncovered for me, I was great at doing all of the things, but where I sucked and I'm still working on today is the close aspect. And I do feel that a lot of times we get stuck in the friend zone. Like we have a great meeting, or like I love marketing. So I would always try to solve their problems by creating like these marketing ideas, but I wasn't getting the referrals or the business because I wasn't asking for it. I was too scared to ask for it. And I just assumed, oh, if I just provide all this value and give, they'll eventually start, returning the favor. But that's not how it works. You do have to get to the point where you ask for the business. And even if they say no, that's okay. You stop wasting your time with the people that say no and try to find more that will say yes. So I hope that answers your question, Kara. And then Denise, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I kind of just want to get some context from the room. How will you guys drop in the chat? How many of you guys just put a yes or a no? Did you help as many families as you wanted to in Q1? Yes or no? No. Okay.
It was a rough start to the year. Not that,
Not even close. Okay. So all of you guys who are saying no, let's just keep it really real. Are you guys doing an hour of prospecting every day? Yes. Okay.
I think we also need to dial into what does that mean, the prospecting.
I will, but I'm just curious. Not every day, not every day. Sadly, no. Okay. Josh Meadows, yeah. So here's the thing is, can we all agree that if you dedicated an hour of prospecting, which we can identify what that looks like, it's different for everybody because everybody's strengths are different. Could we at least agree that if you were committed to your success and help in your income goal, if you legitimately committed an hour a day of prospecting, we will identify. Do you think that you would help more families and have a better opportunity to hit your income goal for Q2? Yes or no? Okay, so here's the thing. Most of you guys here are all saying yes. You said no before. I'm betting that that's not new information for you guys. So now I want, if you will, be super vulnerable and just give me some context. If you answered yes, which all of you guys did, what is getting in the way of you doing this every day? Truthfully, let's hear it. Scary, fear. I struggle with what to do during the time. Okay. I love this. The structure is different info. The rest of my day, my own stupidity. I love you, Pam. That's so myself systems. Okay. Fear, fear, fear. Lack of a reason to call. Unorganized. Failing at it. Feeling like I am saying the same thing that everyone else is saying. We get so many flipping emails. I can't get off email. Okay. Y'all, like, first off, I love all of you guys for being super real and vulnerable, because that's like legit step one. Is the loan officers in our branch deal with the same thing. The fear is real. What am I going to say? Is what I'm saying valuable? I don't know how to start it. Do you start with small talk? How do you transition to the business side? Here's what I will tell you. If we're talking about the partner call, and I know, how do you get the partner on the phone and all that stuff? I know that there's questions there. Tired of ungrateful agents. It's just me. I am the time. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. I would love for you guys to commit to your success more than anybody else in your world. You're the only one that's going to be more committed than anybody else, not your manager, not your CEO, not your spouse. You are in control of your actions and what you do. I get bombarded with emails, with text messages, with Teams alerts. Like, there's a fire that's going on in a file, and like, we all have that. But the ones that are truly committed to the success will time block an hour. So what time blocking for me looks like is I wake up in the morning, I look at my day, and each morning of the day, I put on my calendar when I'm time blocking. I know some people time block like their month and their week. I find that very difficult to do because, to be fair, our days all look crazy. So every morning I wake up and I say, okay, if I have this closing I'm going to, or I have this Zoom that I'm attending, or come heck or high water, it doesn't matter if my power hour is at 7 p.m. at night. I am committed for the next 30 days to do an hour a day. So much that I want you guys to get a calendar. I'm sure Deborah can send you one of these. This is a 8.5 by 11. I can email this to you if you want. Here's what I love about these calendars. I copied it from the One Thing, but here's the calendar. I want you to put a red X on the day that you did your power hour. And what will happen is you will start to, sorry, I don't want to ruin my calendar. Here's what will happen. You will start to form something that looks like this. And it'll start to look like a chain link fence. And at the top, you're going to put, don't break the chain. It's a thing from the One Thing book. So every day when you do that item, that 1 hour power hour, put the X there because you did it. And psychologically, you're going to get like a weekend, and you're not going to want to miss a day because it's going to throw a kink in your chain. It's just going to help you stay a little bit motivated. And number one, I want you guys to all commit to that for the next 30 days before our next master class. Please, I'm asking. The second thing is something that I did with the loan officers in our group, because the fear is real. And part of the reason why you have the fear of having these conversations with real estate agents is because you don't know what to say, and you want so badly to be valuable to them, but you don't know what's valuable to them. And Deborah teaches this in her world of the worst time to think about what you're going to say to an agent is when you're there with the agent. So I kid you not, for 8 weeks, every Wednesday with the loan officers in my branch, we role played a realtor appointment. We role played the transition statement of doing the whole soft talk thing of, you know, how was your weekend? How was your Easter? You're getting to know them. That's the connection piece. But 20 to 25 minutes in, you have to have a transition statement to get into the business conversation. And Kara, I think you mentioned this, and this was what Deborah had mentioned, is you guys could talk for a whole hour and build such a great connection with them. But if you don't ever transition it, you're not going to get the business because you didn't ask for it. So some of the loan officers in my group have that same problem. So I tell them, if your appointment is at 12 p.m., I want you to set an alarm on your phone so that it goes off in the middle of the appointment at 12:25. I don't care that it goes off in the appointment. That is going to be your red flag of like, oh, so sorry, I must have set that a couple of days ago. But if you don't mind, I'd like to transition this into learning more about what you need from a business standpoint. If you had one wish with your current lender to improve maybe their communication or their process, what would that one thing be? and you're starting to ask questions to get context from them. But the things that we worked on with the loan officers in our group is, what are our value adds? What can we deliver that's valuable to an agent? Not what we think they think is valuable. What they will say is they want someone to close on time, have good rates, that's available. And so loan officers are conditioned to say, here's how I'm valuable to my partners. And we all say the same thing because we're conditioned to. Hey, welcome to Dillard's. Is there something I can help you find? No, thank you. I'm just looking. We're conditioned to say that. So you have to get super laser focused on, truthfully, what for you do you do for your agents that you deem as valuable? I want you to take that to your manager, branch manager, regional manager, whoever's your manager. And I want you to ask them if they think that that's relevant and valuable. You need somebody in your corner. You need a caddy, back to my presentation, that can check you and say, you got a blind spot. You think this is really valuable, but I'm telling you, that's just the bare minimum of getting into a conversation. Closing on time, closing fast, having great products, that's the bare minimum. There's nothing sexy about that, y'all. What is sexy is, with our group, I designed what's called our SIT, or Stay in Touch program. You see, what I found, Mr. Realtor, is that the number one complaint from real estate agents is actually the exact same complaint that they had when I got into this business in 2012. And what it is communication. They feel like they give a referral to a loan officer and they don't know what happens to it. And I thought to myself, if I just got really good at proactive, intentional, humanized communication, I might be able to do this mortgage business thing. So I spent 2.5 years and I designed what's called our SIT program, Stay in Touch. And what it does is it identifies and articulates exactly how we're going to communicate with you and your client at every stage of the process. I'm talking before they find a home, during, and even after. It is the Ferrari of Stay in Touch programs. You will never not know what's going on with your client. Even if they need some credit repair help, every single month you're getting an update from me that says, here's where we are, here's what we're doing, here's the plan. Does that sound sexier than I'm going to close on time? Does it sound sexier than saying I have a CRM? I'm willing to bet my CRM is better than y'all's CRM. I know that because I built it from scratch. No, there's not a way for you guys to have access to it unless you join my branch, then you can have access to it, but there's not a way for me to share that with other loan officers. But you've got to look at it as, what are the golf clubs in your golf bag? Think you can have 14 clubs, okay? Identify, okay, we have a great Stay in Touch program. We have a great Power Partner program. Identify what your clubs are. Keep them in the bag. Go to the realtor appointment, whether it's by Zoom. I like to have initial appointments with realtors today by Zoom, just because meeting strangers for coffee is a little bit weird. It's a stranger. What I found is, if I give them the option of, hey, I'd love to get to know you more. Maybe we could have a Zoom consult or have coffee. I always give them the option. Guess what they say? They always want the Zoom consult because it's easier for them too. It's less invasive. If they don't like me, we can get off quick. But I'm going to build rapport for the first 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to use a transition statement to move us from the friend zone to the business zone. And I'm going to ask them really good, important, open-ended questions to get context so that I know what golf club I want to use to add value. I can't show up with a driver if their value is in putting. It's a disconnect. So some of us need to ask better open-ended questions. Some of us need to listen better. But I will bet that the majority of you don't have your golf clubs identified and you haven't practiced articulating them. Like, ask any loan officer in our group. It was crazy. They had such a blind spot. I even had a blind spot. They would start describing our SIT program, and y'all, it was all over the place. Like, there was no framework of what they were even describing. They hadn't framed the beginning of it. I was like, nobody sitting in front of you has any idea what you're articulating. The program is fantastic, but you're not even using the right words and the framing to articulate it. That's watching somebody swing. I have to listen to that and give coaching and give feedback. And then they would tweak, they would come back to our next group coaching and they tweaked it and they would say it again. And it got better, but it still wasn't great. So I gave feedback. They went back, they practiced it, say it out loud in the shower, say it out loud when you're driving. Do you have to say it in front of somebody that can give you that feedback? And after about 8 weeks, all of them could identify their own clubs and they could articulate it. And the only way that they did that is because we painfully met every week to role play. But the fear that some of you guys have that you describe of getting in your own way, not knowing what to say, that's just because you didn't take the time to think through what's my value and practice articulating it. Now that they've said it over and over and over, and we've said it in a group setting and they're prepared for it. When a realtor calls them or they call a realtor, it's so much less scary. And it gets less scary and less scary and less scary the more you do it. And if you're committed to an hour every day, it gets less scary. I promise you guys. That doesn't diminish the fact that it's scary as shit at the beginning. Riding a bike for the first time was scary as shit. In fact, I fell, I cut my chin open, blood was everywhere. I have stitches. Deborah can verify, but I still got back on the bike. So I'm not saying it's not going to be scary, but be so committed to winning. Y'all made it this far. It's April 2024. We've gotten our teeth kicked in for the last 18 months. Y'all have made it this far. Don't give up now. Let's go full throttle. Let's go 100% on ourselves. Why not? What do we have to lose? You know? What do we got? Did I miss any of the comments?
No, I think just one thing
I don't have fancy clubs. It says, I don't have fancy clubs. Bobby, I bet you've got some real sizzle and value. You just need to dig deep on what that value is.
I want to add that there's
Loan officer group. Yeah, that's the value. Come on.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I think oftentimes we overlook the low-hanging fruit, which could be the listing agent from every offer that's being submitted. That is an opportunity to wow the listing agent and to then court them depending on their numbers and if they're deemed qualified. So there's low-hanging fruit there. There's the listing agent on every executed contract that you end up getting. And we often overlook those people. We don't even have a strategy or a plan. And those, hopefully you're reaching out to them every Tuesday doing your status update calls anyways. And if you're making those calls, it's like, oh, hey, by the way, every month we host an agent mastermind. I happen to have a guest speaker talking about social media or, you know, exactly what to say and scripting around the NAR settlement news, whatever. Would love to have you and your team join us. We're going to do a live and Zoom combo, whatever, you know, is good for you, and invite them. But you already have them on the phone and they're anticipating the call. So why not, you know, make it a win-win? And then also every time we got an executed contract, that was our chance, and we would plant the seed. Like as soon as we contacted the listing agent, asked, you know, do you have a transaction coordinator you want added to our updates? We do send proactive communication, blah, blah. By the way, can we earn the opportunity once we wow you through this process and, you know, make us earn it first, but, you know, claim or propose that you're going to wow them. Could we earn a 20-minute appointment with you after closing to show you a little bit more of some of the things that we do and perhaps how we could support your business or whatever, you know, you want to make that sound. But I know a lot of loan officers that don't even do that like that. And you're already having to call these people. That makes it less of a cold call. I also believe in using social to warm up cold calls, liking, commenting, getting to know them, getting them to see my name. But you can't just do that and never then throw the next DM or make the call or the text. You got to throw the right hook in there. Otherwise, you're just, you know, a lot of movement, but you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I totally agree. So Bobby says, I have sizzle, just not sure how to bring that to the table. Is there any way to let Bobby speak? Can we let Bobby in? Is Bobby
No, it's
brave
a
enough?
webinar, so
Oh,
she
it's a
can't.
webinar? Okay, maybe we'll do it for next time. Because Bobby, if you were a loan officer in our group, we would role play this. Oh shucks. We'll get you. We will get you because that's what Bobby's experiencing, and I appreciate you being bold enough and brave enough to share that, but sometimes we know we have the sizzle, we just don't know how to articulate it. And so you got to just practice it. I don't know if you have a branch manager or if you are a branch manager, if you have a regional manager, you just need to get somebody in your corner to listen to you and coach you. And coaching, I hate that word because most coaches that we hear out there today are not truly coaches. They're not watching you swing. They're not making you role play. They're not in the trenches of what like we have to do in this market to win. That's why Deborah and I do this for free because it's like it drives me nuts of don't just tell me to go hit 100 more balls. That's not going to help.
Mm.
So you need somebody that can listen to you present. Like I would love to be like, okay, Bobby, I'm a real estate agent right now. Ring, ring, ring. How do you even start the conversation? And maybe we do that, Deborah. Maybe on our next master class, we pick a few. So if you want to be one of the lucky few, just drop a note in the Facebook page and we'll get you on. And because I think the live feedback from the group, hearing how I would coach you on that swing and how Deborah would coach you on what you're saying, Deborah's a certified exactly what to say person that's part of Phil Jones. She studies the sequence of words and what you say and when to say them so that it lands the most effective on the human brain in front of you. That's part of her coaching group is that's the stuff that she's sharing. And that it's such a item that we overlook. So maybe we do that, Deborah, on our next presentation as we do some live feedback and have some brave souls come on and share it. And then we critique them.
I think it's a great idea. I also, want to emphasize the brain doesn't know the difference between a mental rep and like an actual rep. So guys, you could go to Zoom, start a meeting with yourself and just practice and hit record so that you can go back and listen to the recording, or you could use something like Otter, OTTER.ai. It will transcribe your script for you and then just look at where you can refine. I will say most of the time it's about listening and asking better questions because I feel we kind of throw the word value around too easily or even impact. Like people are like, oh, you've got to create more value or post valuable content. And it's like, okay, great. That's helpful. I've never been told that before. But what is value? Value is subjective to the person. And it reminded me, I took Amplify for the second time a couple weeks ago, and the chef was, telling us this grand story about how he created this meal and all the ingredients and blah, blah, blah. And we all had to go around and share like how that made it so much more valuable to us. And I was like, it didn't for me. One, the terminology he used, and like, I'm not a foodie. You guys know that. So he was using, it felt like a different language. I felt like I was the only one who spoke Spanish and everyone else was speaking English. So I didn't find it valuable hearing the story because it wasn't clear, concise, and watered down enough. Like you guys mentioned how much you like Denise's analogy. She uses analogies like the hose. That's very easy to understand and it's relatable. So I would, if any of you have second graders or elementary school kids, those are the best ones to practice on. One, because they have no attention span and you have to really dumb it down to get them to understand. And so just do your mental reps, record, practice, and always think of what are the right questions I could ask to move and cover more ground because they're actually strategic where then I know how to insert my content or my value because it's going to be wrapped around what that person deems as valuable. That makes sense.
Yeah. So if they want to be the example for the next master class, should we just have them drop a message
Yeah,
in the
I will
newsfeed?
so it'll need to be on Facebook because this chat will go away, guys. So make sure you can either DM me or private message me. Send me your email address so that we can give you a panelist link, and then we'll practice and do live role play. But I also want to make sure that by the time, and it'll be the last Thursday of this month, so it's in a couple weeks. I want y'all tracking your numbers. I want to know. I want you to first make a commitment. How many attempts are you going to make to be bold enough to either get an agent on the phone or to get a meeting with a new agent? And just take note, like, did you crash and burn? I think we create these stories in our head of the potential objections or what could happen. And it's like, it's not even real because you haven't even tried. So we're scared of something that we've heard maybe other people talk about. And even those people haven't tried. So it's like, maybe start in a different state of where nobody knows you and just call on those agents first. And you may not even be able to do loans in that state, but who cares? You're just trying to get reps in to build that muscle up.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I would say commit to, and thank you, Dustin, for sharing what he said. What was super helpful for me, even as a 15-year seasoned loan officer, was hearing about the SIT program to describe what communication means, golf clubs, 14 of them, what questions to ask, what makes me different from the 1,852 other lenders out there, asking listing agents for a Zoom call. Step one, every morning, identify when you can do your 1 hour time block. Step two, write down your golf clubs, your own personal value statements. If you want to email them to me for me to look at them, email them to me, hello@mtgnerdgroup.com. I never offer that, y'all. But bullet point, just identify, short and sweet. These are my clubs. Y'all, I don't even think I have 14. I might have 4. But if you have 14, write them out. Just brain dump, identify what your value is. It certainly will not be closing on time, available, reliable, great products, great rates. That's the minimum to get into this game. So don't write me those. I want to know truthfully what makes you different. What value do you add? Commit to your power hour. Let's do it for 30 days. Get a calendar. I don't care if you print it out from Microsoft Word. Put the red X. And I would love for you guys every 7 days or so, post it in the Facebook group. Let's see the chains. Has anybody broken the chain? Has anybody gone all the way? Let's hold each other accountable. But at the end of the day, only you can be motivated and committed to your success. All we can do is hold you accountable to it. And so find the things that are going to keep you accountable. I go to the gym because I look at all the hot chicks working out and I'm like, I want a butt like that. And I want abs like that. And I want skin like that. So it's motivation for me. I can't work out at home. Like the donuts and the Oreos are too close to proximity. But if I go to the gym and see some like hot 40-year-old that's got a banging body, I'm like, I could do that if I just ate salad and not freaking Oreos. My husband, if y'all saw my story yesterday, I literally told Jason, do not buy junk food. I'm going to eat good. April 1st started on a Monday. It's a new quarter. The new start of the month started on a Monday. This a-hole came back from Costco-sized Oreo ice cream cookies, 24 of them. He's trying to sabotage my success, y'all. Anyways, we want to respect your time. I know that you guys have additional questions. Hopefully Deborah will screenshot those. We'll pick them up and put them in the Facebook chat, but we got to respect Deborah's time because she's got to hop on a lending marketing platform, which is a whole really cool technology we can talk about another time.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.